Mr. Speaker, to debate.
Lady has the floor.
In opposition to House Bill 248. I didn't have to ponder very long on my position on the state exchange and the implementation by Idaho of Obamacare. I've been an employer in Idaho for over 40 years in a very, very regulated, federally regulated industry. So I've dealt with the federal government for all those years, both myself and my employees. I served for a time on the National Auto Dealers Board, and so I've testified at federal hearings on ergonomics during the Clinton era. I've met face-to-face with a dozen lawyers from the IRS to discuss LIFO parts issues. And if you saw the building they were in and the security in that building, in it and around it, you'd know who's afraid of who. But in any case, we all know that health care reform is needed. It's grown needlessly expensive, and that some who want coverage cannot afford it. Now, the debate is about what the principle of that reform ought to be. Under our Constitution, every individual has a right to care for their health, just as they have a right to life. And it is government's chief purpose to secure our rights. Now, this does not imply that government must provide health care any more than the right to eat in order to live requires the government to own farms and raise the crops. Government, rather than seeking to supply the need itself, should look to see if its own interventions are the root of the problem and should make adjustments to unleash competition and choice. If there is any doubt that control of health care services should not have been placed in the federal or state government, we need only look at the history of Medicare and Medicaid, a history in which fraud has proliferated despite all efforts to stop it. We need to unlock existing health care monopolies by letting people purchase health insurance across state lines, just as they do car insurance and other goods and services. This is a simple and obvious way to reduce cost. What are we waiting for? Unless the consumer is able to compare prices and the quality of service, and unless he has incentives to base decisions on that information, there is really not, nor will there be, a free market in House Bill 248. The answer is that the current health care debate is not really about how we can effectively bring down cost. It is a debate less about policy than about ideology. It's a debate over whether we should reform health care in a way compatible with our Constitution and our free society, or whether we should abandon our free market economic model for a full-fledged European-style social welfare state. The true goal of those promoting state government-run health care is crafting entitlement after entitlement and promising benefits that can never be delivered. We'll have a welfare state where most people pay few or no taxes while becoming dependent on government benefits, where tax reduction is impossible because more people have a stake in welfare than in producing wealth, where high unemployment is a way of life and the spirit of risk-taking is smothered by webs of regulation. I see health care reform of the kind promoted by the Obama administration and our state's House Bill 248 as part of a crusade against the American idea. They must be ignorant of the consequences of their proposed programs. National or state exchanges created with their massive subsidies for middle-income earners would represent the greatest expansion of the welfare state in our country in a generation and possibly in history. Now, I would like to clear up a misconception about insurance exchanges. It makes absolutely no difference whether we have 50 state exchanges rather than a federal exchange, as long as the federal government is where the subsidies for consumers will be located. In other words, despite what some seem to believe, Both the House and the Senate versions of health care reform set up a system in which if you are eligible and you want to break on your insurance premium, it is the federal government that will provide it, while telling you what kind of insurance you have to buy. In this sense, the idea of state exchanges instead of federal exchange is a distinction without a difference. Idahoans understand that the problems facing our healthcare system today can be addressed without nationalizing 1/6 of the American economy and become a European-style social welfare state. Idaho employers, that's all our employers, have yet to see the fines and the fees they will pay. I cannot subject every Idaho business, both large and small, to these fines and to these fees. Because the very beginning, the day you begin, any exchange, state or federal, begins the fines and the fees. Health insurance policies currently provided by Idaho's employers will not qualify under Obamacare. Many full-time employment opportunities will become part-time, and unemployment will rise. It's our duty now as elected representatives of all these employers and all our constituents to read our Constitution and our party platform, as well as their resolutions, and vote no on the takeover of our very system of government. Thank you.